I will say it could be, but with the wing and everything else, it's a very bulky thing. And you've got about 2 meters of keel underneath of there. So you have to have a stand that's built for this. Now we have shipped the big ones, the 65 footers. We shipped those on a yacht broker from Ensenada out to Guam right now. So it can be done, but in normal, not so much.
I was curious how stable the Starlink connection is. The Starlink connection.
It's infrequent. It's been really stable. Now we haven't. I know there have been some reports like in the higher latitudes, and we haven't worked in the higher latitudes with it yet. You can see some of that, but yeah, we've been pretty happy with it. You get hiccups like you do on anything, but I can tell you, before we were using Iridium, and Goose knows this well, how much fun that was trying to operate sonars via Iridium. One wrong click on sys and everything went crazy and all the windows changed, and then it took an hour to figure everything out again. So yeah, Starlink I think has been great for all of it. So one thing I will point out is we don't use a acquisition software like a Quincy or a HiPack. We're using the Norbit DCT straight, and we're using Congsworks Sys straight for our data collection.
Is there anyone else? Anything online, Amber?
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, Richard Goosen from Fugro. I'm running the sonar operations portion of our FCMaP effort, or FCMaP effort. So go through that fairly quickly. We have a pretty big area, but it's pretty standard stuff. So just gonna give you a quick update of what we're doing. So where all those blocks, how we're getting through the validation and calibrations, and then what are we looking at as for completion and mission. This is our sort of overall award. It's roughly 41,000 and change square kilometers. We started September last year. We're at now about 12,000 complete. This morning we hit 30%, so we're actually complete. We've done well over 70,000 linear line kilometers, and yeah, 5 vessels currently running. 3 of them are fast crew boats from the oil field, essentially repurposed for survey. Brasilis, one of our own big vessels, has come online to do the deep water stuff, and we've currently got 1 small boat doing work in the Keys, trying to fill some boats. Panhandle was the first one we hit. Basically, we're trying to do a swarm approach on all of these trying to keep logistics efficiently. So we agreed with FDEP that basically we'll do the 10% as a program, although we still have I think we'll do 10% of all the areas. So we're just doing those milestones as we can. But we hit this first, as boats came online, they came out and started working. The first one was, as I said, sort of end of September, and we've just basically been hammering the Panhandle as hard as we could in between Florida's lovely winter weather. We have a couple more infills to do up there, so once we have those all identified, we'll send 1 boat up or back up just to fill those in before we move down to sunnier climes in the Keys. We're working at the moment just off the west area here. Area joining sail drones. There's one of our vessels up there, Renegade, doing that area, and then we're putting in these blocks as we go along. Last week has been pretty gnarly in terms of weather. We're hoping that it's going to be 6-7 now. We'd like to do a bit more progress, but yeah, certainly getting a couple % per day if we got all 3 boats running. We had Brasilis start on this about a week and a half ago in deep water areas, and seas basically just come in there and smash. the 150 to 200 meter area. We're over, actually this morning was almost 50% of that block. So yeah, she's just hoovering it up. Big expensive boat, but really contributing quite significantly to our efforts. Yeah. This is our tracking system, because everyone has one. We call it Virgio. It's ArcGIS based project, and also show where all the vessels are. This was a few days ago, showing 4 boats out acquiring. One was alongside, and sort of completion stats and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is updated near real time and semi-automated through ArcGIS Online. See pretty pictures because we have those. Just some features that we've come across so far. We're chatting about this during the break. Some borrow pits potentially, fairway off the Tampa shore. Precisely done, as dredgers would do. Some interesting cast features as well. We're expecting to see some of those ex-Ceno as well. Some of the deep water sort of cave systems off Tampa. So that's very exciting stuff. Good sand waves. These were up in the Panhandle area. And then there's a significant number of wrecks. This one's the Oriskany, the one at the bottom. Fairly famous sunken artificial reef. But thus far, our HOP files got over 50 man-made features, well over 12 now. I think it's now up to 14 of those were completely uncharted, unknown. So yeah, keeping it interesting. There's some deep water stuff from Brazilius, also some sand waves just on the break, and various interesting challenges that this is before I had love. More just background pretty pictures and showing some of our validation. This is our sort of patch test site off Grand Isle, Louisiana. The old, well, unused underwater oil infrastructure. We sent all 3 of our main acquisition vessels over the top of that to do patch test and validation. Let's look at that picture, which is a bit important. They differed by less than a couple centimeters. So fairly confident that the boats have been set up as well as we can. And then everyone loves a flow chart for processing. But essentially, yeah, we get the data comes from the boat. We're logging in config sys for the most part with our own navigation system, Starfix, if anyone's come across that. GPS logging is through a Planix product, and we do all the processing through that. And we have an MVP on all these boats. We're running a little bit faster than we used to. We've had some interesting determination statistics. But yeah, we'll basically send this data through the cloud to our team, which is all over the US for the most part. Starlink's helping us out for our data transfers and do a semi-automated process. Another Fugro product called Magia, which leverages Caris's process designer and a few other bits and pieces to get all that data flowing. And then with the team for QC, getting products out of there. But generally, we're at a lag of about a day or 2 behind the boats, and people are having quite the time keeping up. Yeah, we're doing working on the Western Keys right now. We're going to be relocating those 3 boats that are off Tampa. They'll finish the next couple of months and head down to the Keys, and then work their way up all the way around to Jacksonville eventually. We got small boats going online down there. We might add another one of those, but we'll see how the progress goes when we get to the Northeast. That's it. Any questions?
Anything online? Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
How many people do you have practicing? You said they're having a hard time keeping up.
We have, well, we're trying to keep 3 per boat.
Okay.
But that's not always the case. On Brazilius sort of threw those numbers out there. out the window. So they basically work pretty hard to keep up. Luckily, the weather's been in their favor. We're outside for a few days, so they.
How long do they stay out on a typical mission chart?
They keep fuel on board for about 7 days. Well, the weather so far has not allowed that. But with the improving conditions, we should be once a week coming in 12 hours fuel.
Artilla.
Keeping them busy. And we're surveying fast. I mean, that's why we're in for the crew boats. So we're going over 10 knots for this. Well over 10 knots most of the time, which is, yeah, causing a lot of broken terminations on the MPP, but that's an interesting point.
What sonar are y'all using?
So the crew boats have got 2040 dual head. The Basilis has got a 302, slightly older Kongsberg system, but it's still performing well. And then small boats will be Reason T50 dual head. This is what we have on the shelf.
You got different sensors on different boats that are merging the data sets together.
Luckily, they're not all adjoining. So for the main challenge for this would be backscatter with the different frequencies and stuff. Backscatter is being collected, but it's not processed. Backscatter is not deliverable. It has to be able to be processed, but not really delivered as a normalized data set. So we are keeping that in mind when we do the collection. So there won't be different vessels in the same blocks essentially. So each vessel will just do its own block. So the sonar's inherent calibration will be maintained wherever we and we just normalize across.
We have these 3 calibration sites off of Tampa that as your boats transit here, if they want to pass through the gates there, that would be helpful, to.
Yeah, absolutely. If you give me I can do that. We tend to do a validation line in and out of port anyway. So we can do sort of TPU calculations post event, see what that precision was. So if you can go over the top of those and do some actually over the top of that, that'd be quite. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next. Sharon. Okay, and we'll hear from FCMaP. I believe Eric, you want to unmute yourself and then share your screen.
Supposedly.
Can you all see the screen there?
But for some reason, we're getting feedback and I'm not sure.
Is somebody not on mute?
I don't see anybody that's not on mute.
So there's only one computer connected here, so it can't be coming from our side.
Are you on a vessel perhaps?
I'm not on a vessel, fortunately.
When you speak, it's going away, so it may just be some interference.
Okay, well, then I'll go ahead and get started, and then if you guys want to jump in and stop me if there's any trouble hearing me, if not, I'll just keep going.
Actually, hang on.
It's getting worse again. You have another speaker,
See, can you
perhaps?
I'm sorry?
Have speakers linked to your room or on a different device that you have next to your presenting computer?
We do not here in the office. There's just one computer connected here, so.
You have another microphone?
Not handy.
we're just wondering if maybe there's 2 of them going on at the same time and one's giving feedback.
So we could try one thing, just hang tight. How's that? Is that any better?
That is a little better. Yeah, it may have been like the vibration from the fan in your laptop or something weird.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a big one. So, okay.
I really think that's what it is.
Good
I
now?
get started if you all can hear me better now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're FCMaP, and my name is Eric Anderson. I'm the director here, in charge of all the hydrographic survey acquisition. I can guarantee you that we are the smallest company in the FSMI program. Most of the companies and the contractors here are in the hundreds and thousands of employees, and we're significantly less. We're a Florida-based company, so we're very excited to be part of this program. Our expertise is really in hydrographic surveying and creating electronic nautical charts for the recreational and the commercial industry. We've got a good background of employees here who've got Cat A certifications. They come from NOAA, ex-NOAA, ex-Navy, and all around the GIS world. So what you're looking at here are two of our vessels that we're utilizing for the FSMI program. The one on the left is a 26-foot Hanko, and the one on the right is a 40-foot Parker. We were asked to talk a little bit about the equipment that we're using. So we're utilizing dual head, dual pull Archie Sonic 2024s, tilted at 25 degrees, and we're able to survey at much higher speeds than you traditionally would by using the universal sonar mount pods, which create a very laminar flow, a very hydrodynamic flow over the sonars, removing any sort of air, which would cause noise at surveying at these high speeds, as well as the poles being very hydrodynamic as well. We're using SPG, Apogee, subsea IMUs, surface mounted on both of the vessels for this project. We've got Seakeepers, which stabilize the boat, which really helps with the roll stabilization with any sort of sea state, makes the data much cleaner and allows you to have a little bit wider swath than you traditionally would without it. Like the other contractors, we're using Starlink. It's been phenomenal for remote support and for actually remote acquisition on the boats as well. Some of our software workflow, we're acquiring in Quincy. We are processing in Chimera and Keras, and able to deliver the products to the state from those software packages. So we were awarded 3 regions. We were lucky enough to receive Polygon Nightmare, and all of our polygons are not nice big squares like most of the other contractors. We've got polygons that terminate in many different directions and have polygons cut out of the polygons, and it's been quite an interesting but exciting acquisition season. So these 2 original polygons are 67 square kilometers. This is in the Tampa Bay region, and then we were awarded an additional 210 square kilometers, which was outside the null to fill LiDAR voids in the 0 to 5 meter range. And we've actually been surveying successfully up to about the 1 meter line. So we've been getting very shallow. We're about 50% done with Tampa Bay. Here's a little bit of the coverage showing you everything that you see in black is greater than 5 meters, and then everything that's shaded is shallower than 5 meters. So our areas aren't as large as some of the other contractors, but we have a lot of linear kilometers of acquisition. So we've got the boats there right now. We're expecting Tampa Bay to be done in May, and we'll be wrapped up with that region. Onto Region 6, the Panhandle. We've got Panama City, Destin, and Pensacola, and that makes up 449 square kilometers was original, and then there was 275 square kilometers of shallower supplemental data that was asked of us. So we're 37% complete right now. Majority of that, or actually all of that, is in Destin. We're planning on doing Panama City and Pensacola for QT Q2 25. So this is the Chatawhatchee Bay in Destin. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but it's quite tough. We've spent several months there. We are completely finished with data acquisition. We're in the processing phase. It was approximately 7,200 linear kilometers of multi-beam. So we spent quite a lot of time driving back and forth in this bay. So we're in the data processing. We'll probably have to go back and do a little bit of infill and some holiday pickup, but we're excited that that project is complete. The third region that we were awarded was the nearshore 0 to 20 in the southeast. It's about 922 square kilometers. We are waiting for a little bit more favorable weather here. So hopefully April, May, June, July, August will be a good field season with no hurricanes and favorable calm seas before we get started on that project. This was the snowstorm of 2025 in Destin. We were snowed in, and a smaller vessel was actually breaking ice in one of the bays while we were surveying. So quite interesting for Florida. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll take them now, or you guys can contact me from the email on the screen.
Are there any questions online or?
Start at least make a comment. Nice presentation. It's nice to see, you know, a smaller company get some of a piece of the pie. And I love the fact, I'll just make the comment that the original FCMaP areas did not go into the estuaries, because at the time we were dealing with it, it was just like overwhelming on the amount of shoreline we were going to be dealing with just the open ocean coast. So, but we know how important our estuaries are. And so it's really great to see that FDEP added the estuaries, and that you guys are doing a great job mapping them.
Yeah, it's a dynamic area. We've seen even sound velocity in some of these shallow areas. The mouths of some of these rivers, will have 10 to 15 meters per second and 4 meters of water from the surface to the bottom. So it's a dynamic environment, but it's an area that doesn't get a lot of love per se in the hydrographic world or the bathymetry world. So it's also super important for obviously coastal modeling and whatnot. So.
Absolutely.
Are there any other questions?
No question.
Go ahead.
So Eric, this is Scott Haydell with R2 Sonics. Are you running a dual head on 2 independent poles, or is it the same pole?
So we're running dual heads on 2 independent poles. That way we have a little bit of a wider swath in shallower water. That really only takes into account when we get in a couple meters of water. We still have crossover in between the two, but the systems have been great. We're also on the other vessel, we're able to acquire data at 12 to 15 knots with the universal sonar mount pod in super shallow water. And it's great because we're even having to reduce the ping rate and the density of the data, because even at that speed, it's just a monumental amount of data that's coming through. So
What kind of beam angle are you getting, say, times water depth, that configuration?
So it's really sound velocity dependent. Where the Chattahoochee Bay, unfortunately, it was so dynamic, so we had to cut it back. But you're safely, depending on what in shallower water, it actually increases, but anywhere between 6 to 10 times water depth. So we're very happy with the setup.
All I have, thanks.
I have a question parallel, jumping off ahead. How are your poles, are they parallel? So like you have them like, how far apart are they?
I'm sorry, are the what?
Are your poles that you have your, transducers, are they, parallel next to each other and how far apart are they?
So
Kind of hard to see from your picture.
yeah, so the poles they're separated on each side of the boat. It's approximately 4 meters of separation between the two heads. So what you're looking at here is on the port side. The starboard side is an exact reciprocal of this image with a head tilted at 20 degrees or 25 degrees in the opposite direction.
Amber, go ahead.
A personal comment, I like the book.
Thank you. It turns a lot of heads. It's been called the mystery machine. It's lots of things. People know they don't miss it.
And then we do have a question online from Jeff Danielson. It says, what sonar system are you using for the shallow sonar work?
So for the shallow work, we're using a 2024 R2 Sonic as well, but it's a single head, which we're running much faster. So that's running on average at about 14 knots. So it's quite impressive to survey very, very shallow water at a high speed. It's also quite nerve-wracking at the same time.
Eric, is that fairing, is that a USM product?
It is, yeah. So Universal Sonar Mount manufactures these pods for different sonars. This is the one particularly for the 2024. I believe that, I believe the heads would be capable of collecting data in excess of 20 knots without any turbulence or aeration over the receiver. It does a great job of positioning the projector below the receiver, so the projector is in clean water. So the receiver is in clean water being in front of the projector, and the projector is in clean water by being lower than the receiver, thus creating a clean environment for both transmit and the receiver.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that that setup before, so it's good information.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve?
Eric, this is Steve Bronski from the University of South Florida. So I'm really kind of surprised to hear how well your surveying is going in Old Tampa Bay. We found that that's very tide limit there, and particularly the western part, really have to survey it on a spring tide, right? It's incredibly shallow up there.
Yeah, so this has been great. We've been on a really good tide cycle the past 2 weeks where we've had 2 highs in the middle of daylight hours, and with the highest high being in the afternoon. So we strategically plan our acquisition to be all of our shoreline and perimeter lines around, high plus or minus a couple hours, and then our cross lines and main scheme lines are able to complete at any tide cycle because we've already identified and insonified any shoal features where we're turning on our perimeter areas.
We've got a fishing trip going up there tomorrow, actually. Maybe we'll wave to you.
Yeah. Tomorrow the boat will be finishing up north of the bridge up here. So
Yeah.
you'll see.
Will it be the pretty colored boat?
Unfortunately, you'll be looking at this one tomorrow, but
Combine a wave.
Disappointment.
Eric, I got another question. What are y'all using for corrections? RTK for your elevation corrections, or TX or something?
So we're using Starlink. So in real time, we're using the Florida N-Trip and the core station for RTK. But then all of our data is post-processed, so it's all PPK'd with Kinersha using either a single base station if the baseline's 15 kilometers or less, or a multiple virtual base station if it's not. And so the vertical accuracy in the horizontal is very accurate to within centimeters with those methods.
Is there anyone else? Anyone online, Amber? Nope. Okay. Well, that wraps it up a little bit early here. Okay, let me see if I can share this just so you can. Screen. We will, what's happening now? So we're wrapping up a little bit earlier than we had planned, but it gives you a little time to kind of relax for a little bit before the mixer at 4:30. So that's at the hub just down the street. I think if you were in there before from around there, but there's the grass if you need it. I wanted to again thank the sponsors. We much appreciate it. It's not going to happen without the sponsorship. Again, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone for joining us. So we'll see you guys hopefully again tonight and then tomorrow at 8:30. Okay.
Yeah. One thing, for people who are here, if one option, if you don't want to go start drinking early, is we still do that. I think we have plenty of time, but we could have Renee and maybe Steve or Cheryl volunteer to kind of walk us along like the waterfront past the FWRI facility, and at least 3 of the FIO and /CMS research vessels are there. See them? Is that a good alternative?
Sure.
It's, I mean, it's a beautiful day out, so, I mean, so.
I'm just not sure what's there right now.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just checking. So, Western Flyer's not here, but the other research vessels, the Hope of the Weatherbird and the Army.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then Renee, you could just point out.
Sure. I don't know the vessels, but.
Well, it's okay. You know people what goes on in those buildings. Or we could go in and look.